Deuteronomy 1. Moses gathered the people and started running back the tape on everything that went down since they left Egypt. They were posted up near the Jordan River, right outside the Promised Land, and Moses wanted to remind them how they got there. He said, "Y'all remember how God told us to leave Mount Sinai and go claim the land He promised our ancestors? He already set it aside for us, so all we had to do was walk in and take it." But as their numbers grew, Moses realized he couldn't handle all their problems alone. So he set up leaders, wise and respected men, to help judge disputes and keep order. He told them, "Be fair, don't play favorites, and don't be scared of nobody, because God got the final say." Then came the part where they fumbled. When they got to the edge of the land God promised, they got scared. Even after sending spies who confirmed the land was good, the people panicked, saying, "These folks too big, too strong, we can't win." Moses reminded them, "God already showed you He got you. He brought you out of Egypt with miracles, carried you through the wilderness, and handled everything, like a father looking out for his child." But they still didn't trust Him. That made God mad, and He told them, "Since y'all don't believe, this whole generation ain't stepping foot in the land. Only Caleb and Joshua, because they stayed faithful, will enter." Moses himself even got caught up and was told he wouldn't enter either. Then the people tried to switch up, saying, "Nah, we'll go fight now." But God already said it was too late. They went anyway and got beat down by the Amorites. After that, they had to sit in the wilderness for years, waiting for a new generation to rise up. Moses laid all this out to remind them, when God tells you to move, trust Him the first time. Deuteronomy 2. Moses kept telling the story, reminding the people how they wandered in the wilderness for years because they didn't listen to God. God told them, "Y'all been circling this mountain long enough. Turn north." But He also warned them not to start fights with certain nations, like the Edomites, Esau's people, the Moabites, Lot's people, and the Ammonites. God had already given them their own lands, so Israel had to respect that. Instead of taking over, they had to buy food and water from them and keep it moving. For 40 years, God had been taking care of them. No lack, no struggle. Their clothes didn't wear out. Their feet didn't even swell. Even in the wilderness, He made sure they had everything they needed. Then they came across King Sihon of the Amorites. Moses tried to make peace, asking to pass through without trouble. But Sihon wasn't hearing it. God let his heart stay hard so that Israel could take him down. And that's exactly what happened. Israel fought and won, taking over his whole kingdom. Not a single one of their enemies survived. They took everything, land, cities, wealth, but didn't mess with the areas God told them to leave alone. This was the beginning of them stepping into the victories God had lined up for them. Moses was making it clear. When they moved in obedience, they won. When they didn't, they wandered. Deuteronomy 3. Moses kept the recap going, reminding the people how God had been handling business for them. After taking down King Sihon, they had to face King Og of Bashan. Now, Og wasn't just anybody. He was a giant, one of the last of his kind. But God told Moses, "Don't be scared. I already handed him over to you, just like I did with Sihon." So they ran up on him, wiped out his whole army, and took over his land too. By the time they were done, Israel had taken a huge chunk of land on the east side of the Jordan River. Moses split it up between the Reubenites, the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh. The warriors from these tribes had to help the rest of Israel take the land west of the Jordan before settling down, but their families could stay and start building their new lives. Then Moses told Joshua, "You saw what God did to these kings. That's exactly what He's going to do to every nation standing in your way. Don't be afraid. God Himself is fighting for you." But then Moses got personal. He told them how he begged God to let him into the promised land. "Please, Lord, let me cross over and see the good land you're giving us." But God wasn't having it. He was still holding Moses accountable for losing his temper back when he struck the rock instead of speaking to it. God told him, "Enough. Don't ask me about this again. Go up to the top of Mount Pisgah, look around and take it all in, because that's as close as you're getting." Then he told Moses to encourage Joshua, because he was the one who would lead the people into the land. So Moses had to accept it. They stayed camped near the Jordan, right on the edge of their promise, waiting for the next move. Deuteronomy 4. Moses kept the message going, making sure Israel understood what was at stake. He told them, "Listen up. Obey God's laws and commands, and you'll live well in the land He's giving you. Don't add to what He said and don't take away from it. Just follow it exactly how He gave it." He reminded them what happened at Baal Peor when some of them messed around with foreign idols and got wiped out. But those who stayed faithful, they were still standing strong. Then he told them, "These laws aren't just rules, they're wisdom. When other nations see how you live, they'll respect you and recognize that God is really with you. No other nation has a God as close and responsive as ours." Then Moses warned them, "Never forget what you've seen. Pass it down to your kids and grandkids. Remember when God spoke to you at Mount Sinai? You didn't see a form, just His voice. That's because He doesn't want y'all making idols or trying to put Him in a physical shape like other nations do. He made it clear, if y'all start worshiping other gods, you're going to lose everything. You'll be scattered among the nations and life will get hard. But if you turn back to God, He'll take you back because He's merciful. He won't forget the promise He made to your ancestors." Moses then dropped a reality check. Has anything like this ever happened before? Has any other God rescued a people with miracles, signs, and wonders like our God did in Egypt? He personally chose you, brought you out with power, and gave you this land. So don't get it twisted. There is no other God but Him. Finally, Moses set aside 3 cities of refuge on the east side of the Jordan. If someone accidentally killed someone, they could run there for safety. After that, he reminded them again, "This is the law God gave me to teach you. When you enter the land, live by it, because that's what will keep you blessed." Deuteronomy 5. Moses gathered the people and told them, "Listen up, Israel. God made a covenant with us, not just with our ancestors, but with us, the ones standing here today. He spoke to us face to face from the fire on the mountain." Then he reminded them of the 10 commandments God gave them. 1. No other gods before me. God is the only one. Don't put anything or anyone above Him. 2. No idols. Don't try to create or worship anything as a substitute for Him. 3. Don't misuse God's name. His name is holy. Don't play with it or use it recklessly. 4. Keep the Sabbath holy. Work 6 days, but the 7th is a rest day dedicated to God. Even your workers and animals need to rest. 5. Honor your parents. Respect them so you can live long and blessed in the land. 6. Don't murder. Life is sacred. Don't take it unjustly. 7. Don't commit adultery. Stay loyal to your spouse. 8. Don't steal. If it ain't yours, leave it alone. 9. Don't lie on people. Speak truth, especially in serious matters. 10. Don't covet. Stop eyeing what belongs to someone else. Be content with what you have. Moses reminded them how they were terrified when they heard God's voice from the fire and asked Him to speak to God on their behalf. God agreed, saying, if only they'd always have this kind of respect and obedience, they'd be blessed forever. Then Moses told them, God gave me these commands for you to follow. Walk in obedience, stay on the right path, and you'll live long and well in the land he's giving you. Deuteronomy 6. Moses continued speaking to the people, saying, "These are the commands God gave me to teach you. Follow them so you and your children can live long and blessed in the land he promised. Respect him, obey his word, and things will go well for you." Then he gave them one of the most important instructions. "Listen, Israel, the Lord our God is the only God. Love him with all your heart, soul, and strength." He told them, "Keep these words in your heart. Teach them to your kids. Talk about them at home, on the road, when you wake up, and when you go to bed. Write them down. Put them on your doorposts. Make sure you never forget." Then he warned them, "God is bringing you into a land full of blessings, houses you didn't build, wells you didn't dig, vineyards you didn't plant. When you get comfortable, don't forget who gave it to you. Stay faithful to God and don't chase after other gods, or he will shut all this down." Moses reminded them, "Don't test God like your ancestors did at Massa. Instead, obey him fully. Do what's right, and he'll continue blessing you." Then he said, "When your kids ask why we follow all these laws, tell them the story. Remind them how we were slaves in Egypt, and God brought us out with his power. He gave us these commands so we could live blessed and favored. Obedience is for our good. It keeps us in alignment with him." Deuteronomy 7. Moses kept it real with the people, telling them, when God brings you into the land he promised, he's going to clear out the nations before you. These people are stronger than you, but don't worry. God already set it up for you to win. He told them, when you take over, don't make peace treaties or intermarry with them. If you do, they'll turn your hearts away from God and lead you into destruction. Instead, tear down their idols, smash their altars, and get rid of anything tied to their false gods. Then Moses reminded them why they were chosen. God didn't pick you because you were the biggest or strongest nation. In fact, you were one of the smallest. But he chose you because he loves you and because he keeps his promises. He laid it out clearly. God is faithful. If you love him and obey his commands, he'll bless you, multiply you, and take care of you. No sickness, no lack, just favor. But if you turn on him, he'll deal with you just like he's dealing with these other nations. Moses told them not to be scared of their enemies. You've already seen what God did in Egypt. He'll do the same thing here, sending plagues, confusion, and fear to wipe them out. You may not see it happen all at once, but little by little, God will clear the land for you so it's manageable. He warned them again. Don't bring their idols into your homes. They're cursed, and if you hold on to them, you'll bring that same curse on yourself. Destroy them completely and stay fully committed to God. Deuteronomy 8. Moses told the people, make sure you follow every command God has given you. If you do, you'll live, multiply, and take possession of the land he promised your ancestors. Then he told them, don't forget how God led you through the wilderness for 40 years. He humbled you, tested you, and showed you that you don't live by bread alone, but by every word from him. Moses reminded them, your clothes never wore out, and your feet never swelled. God was disciplining you like a loving father corrects his child, teaching you to trust him. He told them, you're about to enter a land flowing with blessings, streams, wheat fields, vineyards, olive trees, honey, and resources like iron and copper. You'll have more than enough, so when you eat and get comfortable, don't forget who gave it to you. Then came the warning. Don't start thinking you got all this by your own strength. Remember, it's God who gives you the ability to succeed. That's how he keeps his promise to your ancestors. Moses ended with a serious reminder. If you forget God and start worshiping other gods, you'll be destroyed just like the nations before you. Disobedience will cost you everything. Deuteronomy 9. Moses told the people straight up, "Listen, Israel, you're about to cross into the land and take down nations bigger and stronger than you, with cities fortified to the sky. They even got giants, but don't trip. God himself is going ahead of you like a consuming fire. He'll wipe them out, and you'll take the land just like he promised." Then he hit them with a reality check. Don't get it twisted. God isn't giving you this land because you're righteous. You're actually stubborn. This is happening because those nations are wicked, and God is keeping his word to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses reminded them of their track record. Y'all been acting up since day one. Remember Mount Sinai? I went up to get the commandments, fasting for 40 days, and by the time I came down, y'all had already made a golden calf, turning away from God. He continued, I had to beg God not to destroy you. He was ready to wipe you out, even Aaron for leading the mess. I broke the stone tablets because y'all had already broken the covenant. Then I fasted another 40 days, crying out for God's mercy so he wouldn't destroy you. Moses reminded them of other times they tested God at Taberah, Massa, and Kibroth Hattava, saying, every time God tried to bless you, y'all rebelled. He ended with, I had to plead with God again at Kadesh Barnea when he told you to take the land, but y'all refused, scared to trust him. I prayed, Lord, don't destroy your people. Remember your promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses was making it clear. You're not stepping into this land because you're perfect. It's only because of God's grace and faithfulness. Deuteronomy 10. Moses continued, reminding the people how God showed them mercy despite their stubbornness. After I broke the first tablets, God told me to chisel out 2 new ones and bring them up the mountain. He rewrote the 10 Commandments and told me to place them in the Ark of the Covenant. Then Moses reminded them of their journey, how God set apart the Levites to carry the ark, serve him, and bless the people. That's why they don't get a share of the land. Their inheritance is God himself. Then he hit them with a challenge. What does God really want from you? Just this. Respect him, follow his ways, love him, serve him with everything you've got, and obey his commands. It's for your own good. Moses made it plain. The heavens, the earth, everything in existence belongs to God. Yet he chose your ancestors and their descendants, you. So stop being stubborn and open your hearts. He reminded them, God is the ultimate power, mighty, just, and not impressed by status. He defends the weak, the orphans, and the outsiders. And since y'all were once outsiders in Egypt, treat foreigners with kindness. He wrapped up by saying, respect and serve God. Stay loyal to him. He's the one who did all those great and powerful things you saw with your own eyes. Your ancestors went to Egypt as 70 people, and now look, God has multiplied you into a nation as countless as the stars. Deuteronomy 11. Moses kept it real with the people. Love the Lord your God and follow his commands every day. Don't just go through the motions. Remember everything he's done for you. He reminded them, y'all saw how he humbled Egypt with those plagues, how he split the Red Sea for you, and how he wiped out Pharaoh's army. You saw how he led you through the wilderness and handled those who rebelled, like when the earth swallowed Dathan and Abiram. Then he told them, that's why I'm telling you, hold on to God's commands. If you obey, you'll be strong, take the land, and live long in a place full of blessings. This land ain't like Egypt, where you had to work hard to water crops. This is a land where God himself sends rain in the right seasons. It's under his care from day one of the year to the last. Moses warned them, "If y'all turn away from God and start worshiping idols, he'll shut the heavens, no rain will fall, and the land will dry up. You'll lose everything." So he told them again, "Keep these words in your heart. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at home, on the road, when you wake up, and when you lay down. Tie them on your hands, wear them on your forehead, and write them on your doorposts so you never forget." He gave them a promise. If you obey, no one will be able to stand against you. Every place your feet touch will be yours, and nations stronger than you will fall before you. Then he laid it out plain. "Today, I'm putting two choices in front of you, a blessing if you obey and a curse if you don't. When you cross into the land, set these reminders on Mount Gerizim for blessings and Mount Ebal for curses." He wrapped up by saying, "God is giving you this land, but you have to walk in his ways. Stay faithful, and you'll see his promises come to life." Deuteronomy 12. Moses told the people, "When you enter the land God is giving you, make sure you completely destroy every place where the nations before you worshipped their false gods. Tear down their altars, smash their idols, burn their poles, and erase every trace of them. Don't worship God the way they worship their gods." He then told them, "God will choose one place for you to worship him. That's where you'll bring your sacrifices, offerings, tithes, and gifts. Don't just offer sacrifices anywhere you want. Wait until God establishes his place of worship." Moses reassured them, "Right now, everyone does whatever seems right because you haven't fully stepped into the promise yet. But once God gives you rest from your enemies and you settle in the land, you'll worship the way he commands." He continued, "You can kill and eat meat wherever you live, as long as you do it properly. But sacrifices must be brought to the place God chooses. Don't eat the blood. Pour it out like water." Moses warned them again, "Be careful not to follow the detestable ways of the nations before you. They even sacrificed their own children to their gods. God hates that, and you must never do it." He ended with a reminder, "Don't add to or take away from what God commanded. Follow his instructions exactly." Deuteronomy 13. Moses warned the people, "If a prophet or dreamer comes along, performing signs and wonders, and then tells you to follow other gods, don't listen. Even if the sign comes true, God is testing you to see if you really love him with all your heart and soul. Stay loyal to him, follow his commands, and serve only him." Then he got serious. "If your own brother, your child, your wife, or even your best friend secretly tries to get you to worship other gods, don't go along with it. Don't listen, don't feel sorry for them, and don't try to protect them. They must be put to death. You have to remove that kind of evil from your community." Moses kept going. "If you hear that an entire town has turned to idol worship, investigate it carefully. If it's true, destroy everything. Burn the whole city and leave it as a ruin forever. Don't take anything for yourself, and God will show you mercy and bless you." He ended with a strong reminder. Stay faithful to God, follow his commands, and do what's right in his eyes. That's how you'll stay blessed in the land he's giving you. Deuteronomy 14. Moses reminded the people, "You are God's chosen people, set apart for him. So don't follow the customs of other nations, like cutting yourselves or shaving your heads for the dead. You belong to God, and he calls you his own." Then he broke down the food laws. Clean and unclean animals. They could eat animals that had split hooves and chewed the cud like cows, sheep, and goats. But animals like camels, rabbits, and pigs were off limits. Seafood. Only fish with fins and scales were allowed. Shellfish and other sea creatures were unclean. Birds. Most birds were fine to eat, but scavengers and birds of prey, like eagles, vultures, and owls, were forbidden. Insects. No bugs on the menu. He also told them, don't eat anything that died on its own. You can give it to foreigners, but it's not for you because you are set apart for God. And don't boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Then Moses reminded them about tithing. Set aside 1/10 of everything your fields produce each year and bring it to the place where God chooses for worship. Eat it there in His presence, celebrating His blessings. If the place is too far, sell your goods for silver, then use the money to buy food, wine, or anything you want to enjoy in God's presence. He also commanded them to take care of the poor. Every 3rd year, set aside your tithe for the Levites, orphans, foreigners, and widows in your community so they'll have what they need. When you take care of others, God will bless you in everything you do. Deuteronomy 15. Every 7 years, y'all gotta hit the reset button on debts. If somebody owes you money, let it go. That's how God set it up. His people ain't supposed to be out here drowning in debt forever. But this rule is for your own folks, your community. You still handle business with outsiders, but among God's people, you show grace. If y'all really live by this, there won't even be poverty among you, because God is gonna bless you heavy. Just follow His instructions, and He'll make sure you stay winning. You'll be lending to other nations, not borrowing. You'll be on top, not struggling at the bottom. Now, if you see somebody in your circle struggling, don't turn a blind eye. Don't be stingy or act like you don't see them. Help them out. Open your hand. Be generous. And don't be fake about it. Don't loan money thinking, man, the debt reset is coming up. I ain't gonna get this back. Nah, that's the wrong spirit. Give without a grudge, and God will bless you for it. The truth is, there will always be people in need, and that's why you gotta have a giving heart. Be ready to bless others. Now about servants. If one of your people has to work for you to survive, they put in 6 years. But in the 7th year, let them go free. And don't send them off empty-handed. Bless them on the way out. Give them something from your crops, your livestock, your wealth. Just like God blessed you when He brought you out of Egypt. Don't be tight-fisted. But if that servant says, I love being here, I don't want to leave, then let them stay. Make it official by piercing their ear, and they'll be part of your house for life. And don't trip about letting them go after 6 years. They already put in good work, and the blessings God got for you will more than make up for it. Finally, when it comes to giving God the firstborn of your livestock, don't try to finesse it. Set it apart, honor Him with it, and enjoy the blessings that come with obedience. God's system is built on abundance, not lack. Follow His ways, and you'll always have more than enough. Deuteronomy 16. God set up some key celebrations for His people to remember where they came from and to keep their relationship with Him strong. Here's how it goes. Passover. When the month of Abib rolls around, celebrate Passover in honor of how God brought y'all out of Egypt. Sacrifice a lamb at the place He chooses, and don't eat no bread with yeast. Keep it unleavened for 7 days as a reminder of how fast y'all had to move when He set you free. Eat the meal. Then the next morning, pack up and head back home. For 6 days, keep eating that unleavened bread, and on the 7th day, have a big gathering to honor God. No work, just worship. Festival of Weeks, Pentecost. 7 weeks after you start harvesting, throw a festival to thank God for blessing your grind. Bring an offering that matches how much He's blessed you, and celebrate with everybody, your family, workers, strangers, and even the poor. Everybody eats. God wants y'all to celebrate together in the place He chooses. remembering that you were once slaves and now you're free. Festival of Tabernacles, shelters. For 7 days after your harvest, turn up and celebrate the blessings God gave you. Chill in temporary shelters to remember how your ancestors lived in the wilderness. Again, bring the squad, your family, workers, and even those struggling in the community. Everybody gets in on the joy. God wants y'all to be happy in His blessings. Giving and leadership. 3 times a year, during these festivals, every man must pull up to God's chosen place and bring an offering. And don't show up empty-handed. Give according to how much God has blessed you. When it comes to leadership, appoint fair judges in every town. No favoritism, no bribes. Justice must be real. God don't play about that. Also, don't be out here mixing God's ways with idol worship. No setting up shady altars or sacred poles for fake gods. He ain't having that. Keep His worship pure, and you'll stay blessed. Deuteronomy 17. God lays down some serious rules about justice, worship, and leadership to keep His people in check. Here's the breakdown. No janky sacrifices. If you're bringing an offering to God, don't bring no sick, weak, or messed up animals. God is holy, so don't try to finesse Him with second-rate gifts. No playing with idols. If somebody in the community starts worshiping other gods, the sun, moon, or any stars, shut that down immediately. But don't jump to conclusions. Investigate first. If there are at least 2 or 3 solid witnesses proving it's true, then that person has to be taken out. And the ones who testified gotta be the first to put in work. God ain't tolerating any idolatry in His people. Handling tough cases. If a legal case comes up that's too tricky, whether it's about murder, rights, or civil disputes, take it to the priests and judges that God set up. Whatever they decide, you follow it. No arguing, no picking and choosing. If somebody refuses to listen, they gotta go. That kind of defiance can't be allowed to spread. Rules for kings. When y'all finally get a king, he needs to be chosen by God. No outsiders. He gotta be one of y'all. But here's the thing. No stacking up war horses, especially not from Egypt. Don't try to build power like other nations. No collecting a bunch of wives, or they'll turn his heart away from God. No hoarding gold and silver just to flex. Instead, the king needs to stay grounded. He should write out his own copy of God's laws, read it daily, and live by it. That way he won't start feeling himself too much, or think he's above his people. If he stays humble and follows God's ways, his reign will last, and so will his family's legacy. Deuteronomy 18. God sets up how priests, prophets, and spiritual leaders should operate, plus some serious warnings about staying away from shady spiritual practices. Here's the breakdown. Provisions for priests and Levites. The Levites don't get land like the other tribes because their inheritance is God Himself. Their job is to serve Him, and in return, they live off the offerings the people bring, things like grain, meat, and first fruits. When a Levite moves to the place God chooses, they should get their fair share just like the other Levites already serving. Stay away from dark practices. When y'all step into the land God promised, don't start picking up the nasty habits of the people there. That means no child sacrifices, no witchcraft, sorcery, or fortune-telling, no omens, spells, or trying to talk to the dead. God ain't with that at all. That's the reason He's kicking those nations out before you. He wants y'all to be set apart, not dabbling in dark stuff like they do. The prophet like Moses. God promises to raise up a prophet from among the people, somebody who will speak His words, just like Moses did. The people were scared to hear directly from God at Mount Sinai, so He's making a way for them to get His message through His chosen prophets. If a prophet truly speaks for God, listen to them. But if somebody claims to be a prophet and starts making things up in God's name, or tries to push other gods, don't listen to them. And if their predictions don't come true, they were never speaking for God in the first place. No need to fear them. Deuteronomy 19. God lays down laws about justice, protection, and fairness to keep his people from wilding out. Here's how it goes. Cities of refuge, safe zones for accidents. When y'all settle in the land God promised, set up 3 cities of refuge. These are safe zones for people who accidentally kill someone, like if you're chopping wood and the axe head flies off and kills your homie. Since it wasn't on purpose, they can run to one of these cities to avoid revenge from the victim's family. But if somebody straight up murders someone with intent, they can't hide in a refuge city. The elders will hand them over to face justice. No mercy for cold-blooded killers. Respecting land boundaries. Don't be out here moving your neighbor's property line to take what ain't yours. That's shady, and God ain't having it. The 2 or 3 witness rule. Nobody can be convicted of a crime based on just one witness. You need at least 2 or 3 solid witnesses to confirm the truth. That keeps things fair and prevents false accusations. Dealing with false witnesses. If somebody lies in court to set someone up, the judge has got to investigate. If they're caught lying, whatever punishment they tried to put on the innocent person will hit them instead. That way, people will think twice before trying to ruin someone's life with a false accusation. Justice must be fair and firm. The rule is simple. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. In other words, punishment should match the crime, no more, no less. God wants his people to operate with justice, not revenge or cruelty. Deuteronomy 20. Rules for war. When it's time to go to battle, God lays out some rules so his people move with faith and integrity. Don't be scared. God got you. When y'all roll up to fight, don't trip over how big or strong the enemy looks. Chariots, horses, or numbers don't matter. God himself is riding with you, just like he did when he freed y'all from Egypt. Before the battle, the priest steps up and reminds everybody, don't be afraid. Stay strong. God is fighting for you. Who gets to go home? Instead of fighting, before battle, the officers give certain people a pass to sit this one out. If you just built a house but haven't moved in yet, go home and enjoy it. If you planted a vineyard but haven't harvested it yet, go eat your grapes. If you just got engaged, go marry your fiancé first. If you're scared and know you'll bring fear to others, go home. We don't need that energy in the camp. Rules for attacking cities. When approaching a city, offer peace first. If they accept, they become part of the squad, working and living under your rule. If they reject peace, go to war, take the city and handle business. The men who fought against you gotta go, but the women, children, and resources can be spared. But for cities in the land God is giving you, wipe them out completely. No survivors. These nations are deep in evil and idol worship, and God doesn't want his people picking up their ways. Respect the land, even in war. When laying siege to a city, don't destroy the fruit trees. You can eat from them, but don't chop them down. Trees ain't your enemy. Save that for the people you're fighting. Deuteronomy 21. Justice, family, and responsibility. God lays out rules to make sure justice is served, family matters are handled right, and people take responsibility for their actions. Unsolved murder. What to do? If someone is found dead in a field and nobody knows who did it, the nearest town has to take responsibility. The elders measure the distance to the closest city, then take a young cow to a valley, break its neck, and the priests pray for God to remove the guilt from the land. The elders then publicly wash their hands over the sacrifice, saying, "Ye know, we didn't do this, and we don't know who did." This clears the town of blood guilt. Marrying a captive woman. If Israel goes to war and a man sees a woman among the captives that he wants to marry, he can take her home. But first, she gets time to mourn her family for a month. She shaves her head, trims her nails, and changes clothes. After that, he can marry her. But if he later decides he doesn't want her, he has to let her go free. He can't sell her or treat her like property. Firstborn rights. No playing favorites. If a man has 2 wives and loves one more than the other, he can't cheat the firstborn out of his rightful inheritance just because he doesn't like the mom. The firstborn son, no matter which wife he came from, gets a double portion of the inheritance. That's the law. Dealing with a rebellious son. If a son is wilding out, disrespecting his parents, refusing discipline, and living reckless, they take him to the town elders. If he won't listen to anybody, the people of the town will put him to death. It's harsh, but it's meant to keep the community in check and stop rebellion from spreading. Cursed is anyone hung on a tree. If someone commits a crime worthy of death and is executed, their body can't be left hanging overnight. They must be buried the same day because anyone left hanging on a tree is cursed by God. Leaving them up would bring judgment on the land. Deuteronomy 22. Look out for your people. If you see your neighbor's stuff, like their car, phone, or even their pet, lost or in trouble, don't act like you didn't see it. Help them out. If they ain't around, hold on to it until they come looking for it. Same thing if their animal gets stuck somewhere. Lend a hand. Don't be the type to ignore people's struggles when you got the power to help. Respect boundaries. Men and women got their own lanes. Don't blur them just because the world says it's cool. God set up order for a reason. Care for life around you. If you come across a bird's nest, don't snatch up both the mama and the babies. Let the mama go so she can keep life going. It's about balance. Respect nature, and things will go well for you. Build smart. Stay safe. If you build a house, make sure your roof has a guardrail. Basically, take precautions so nobody gets hurt on your watch. Be responsible with what you create. Stay away from mixing what ain't meant to mix. Don't plant 2 kinds of seeds in one field. Don't hook up your ox and donkey together for work, and don't mix fabrics like wool and linen. It's about keeping things in order. Don't force things that ain't supposed to go together. Wear your sign of commitment. Back then, they rocked tassels on their clothes to remind them of God's commandments. Today, it's like keeping something on you that represents your faith, whether that's a cross necklace, a verse on your phone, or just walking in a way that lets people know you move with God. Respect and protect relationships. This section talks a lot about purity, marriage, and handling accusations the right way. Bottom line, don't play with people's reputations, don't lie on folks, and respect the seriousness of relationships. If you commit to someone, stay solid, and if someone gets hurt or violated, justice should be served. God ain't just giving out random rules. He's setting up a culture of respect, responsibility, and righteousness. If you live by these principles, you'll be setting yourself up for a life of wisdom and blessings. Deuteronomy 23. Who can join the community? Not everybody can just roll up and claim they're part of God's people. Some folks, because of their background, actions, or where they come from, weren't allowed to be part of the assembly. This wasn't about exclusion for no reason. It was about keeping the community strong and pure. Some nations had disrespected Israel in the past, so they weren't welcome. But others, like Edomites, family through Esau, and Egyptians, who once sheltered Israel, had a path to join in over time. Stay clean, stay holy. God wanted his people to be set apart, even in how they handled everyday things. When they were out in the camp, they had to keep things clean, especially when it came to hygiene and personal space. Even bathroom breaks had a process, because God's presence was among them, and he expected order and respect. Protect the oppressed. If a runaway slave came seeking safety, they weren't supposed to be sent back into a bad situation. Instead, they were to be given a place to live freely. This was a reminder that God's people knew what it was like to be oppressed, so they had to move differently from the nations around them. Keep it holy. No dirty business. Israel wasn't supposed to allow prostitution, whether male or female, as part of worship. Some cultures around them did this in their temples, but God wasn't about that life. No dirty money from that kind of business was allowed in his house either. God's people weren't supposed to mix righteousness with corruption. Be honest with your word and your money. If you made a vow to God, you had to keep it. No one forced you to promise anything, but once you did, you were expected to follow through. On the flip side, when it came to lending money, Israel wasn't supposed to charge interest to their own people. Help should be given out of love, not for profit. But if they lent to outsiders, interest was fair game. Help, but don't take advantage. If you were walking through someone's vineyard or grain field, you could grab some food to eat right then and there, but you couldn't bring a basket or sickle and start taking stuff home. The idea was about fairness. Nobody should go hungry, but at the same time, nobody should abuse someone else's hard work. God's laws in this chapter were all about keeping the community pure, honorable, and fair. He wanted his people to move differently, living with integrity, treating each other with respect, and making sure their actions reflected his holiness. Deuteronomy 24. Divorce ain't something to play with. If a man divorced his wife and she moved on to marry someone else, he couldn't take her back later, even if her second marriage ended. That would bring confusion and disrespect to the land. The takeaway? Marriage is serious business, and people shouldn't treat it like something they can jump in and out of whenever they feel like it. Look out for the newlyweds. A man who just got married wasn't supposed to be sent off to war or given heavy responsibilities. He needed time to be home, build his household, and bring joy to his wife. Marriage had to start on a strong foundation, and that meant prioritizing family over duty for a season. Don't take someone's livelihood as collateral. If someone took out a loan, the lender couldn't take their tools or things they needed to survive as a guarantee. Basically, you can't strip someone of their ability to make a living just because they owe you money. Respect people's dignity. If you had to collect a debt, you weren't supposed to storm into someone's house and take what you wanted. Instead, you had to wait outside and let them bring it to you. That way, you weren't embarrassing them or violating their space. Be fair to the poor. If someone was struggling and gave you their coat as a promise to pay you back, you had to return it by the evening so they wouldn't be out in the cold at night. God pays attention to how you treat people, especially those in need. No exploiting workers. If you hired someone, especially someone poor, you had to pay them the same day. They were depending on that money to survive, and holding it back was straight up wrong. Everyone answers for their own actions. Parents weren't to be punished for their kids' sins, and kids weren't to be punished for their parents' sins. Everyone had to take responsibility for their own choices. Protect the vulnerable. Don't take advantage of foreigners, orphans, or widows. God reminded Israel that they once were oppressed in Egypt, so they had to make sure they didn't turn around and treat others the same way. Justice had to be fair for everybody, not just the rich or powerful. Be generous to those in need. When harvesting crops, if something got left behind, it was supposed to stay there for the poor, the foreigner, the orphan, and the widow. God blessed his people so they could be a blessing to others, and he made sure they remembered that. At the heart of these laws is a simple message. Treat people right, whether it's in marriage, business, justice, or daily life. God's people were called to move with integrity, compassion, and generosity. Deuteronomy 25. Justice should be fair. If two people had a dispute, they had to take it to court, where the judges would decide who was right and who was wrong. If the guilty person deserved a punishment, it had to be fair. No excessive beatdowns. The limit was 40 lashes because justice wasn't about breaking people, just correcting them. Don't muzzle the ox. If an ox was working, grinding grain, you couldn't put a muzzle on it to stop it from eating. In other words, if someone is putting in work, they should be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Don't be stingy with people who are helping build something. Protecting family legacy. If a man passed away without a son, his brother had to marry the widow and have kids in his name to keep the family line going. If he refused, the woman could call him out in front of the elders, take his sandal off and spit in his face, a sign that he failed to step up for his family. Reputation mattered, and looking out for your people was a big deal. Keep it clean in conflict. If two men were fighting and a woman tried to break it up by grabbing one of them inappropriately, that wasn't allowed. Respect and self-control were expected even in tough situations. Honest scales, honest business. God's people were supposed to be honest in business. No cheating with rigged scales or shady deals. If you did people dirty in business, God saw it, and he wasn't rocking with that. Integrity mattered in every part of life. Remember what Amalek did. The Amalekites attacked Israel when they were weak and tired, so God commanded his people never to forget. When they finally had peace in the land, they were supposed to completely wipe out Amalek so that injustice like that wouldn't stand. The message in this chapter is simple. Move with integrity, handle your responsibilities, and make sure justice is fair. Whether in family, business, or everyday life, God wanted his people to operate with righteousness and respect. Deuteronomy 26. Bring your first fruits to God. When you step into the blessings God promised, new land, new opportunities, and a fresh start, you don't just keep it all to yourself. You bring the first and best of what you've got back to him as a thank you. When you do, you remind yourself that it wasn't just your hustle that got you there. It was God. Remember where you came from. As you give, you tell the story. We started from nothing. Our ancestors were struggling, enslaved and oppressed, but God stepped in, pulled us out, and brought us to a place of abundance. It's a reminder to stay grateful and never forget who made the way. Take care of those in need. Every 3 years, a special offering went out to make sure the Levites, who worked in the temple, the foreigners, orphans, and widows were taken care of. It wasn't just about individual blessings. God's people had to look out for the whole community. Keep it real with God. After giving, you made a declaration. I did what you commanded. I didn't cheat, hold back, or misuse what was yours. I honored you, so bless me and the land you've given. This was about being accountable and moving with integrity. Walk in obedience, walk in favor. God had already chosen his people, but they had to choose him back by following his ways, keeping his commands, and living differently from the world around them. In return, he promised to make them a people of honor, set apart and blessed beyond measure. The lesson here: stay grateful, stay obedient, and share the blessings. Everything you have is from God, so honor him with it, help others, and watch how he continues to elevate you. Deuteronomy 27. Set up a reminder of God's laws. When you step into the land God promised, don't just get comfortable. Set up stones, write down his laws on them, and keep them visible. Build an altar and offer sacrifices, showing gratitude for how far he's brought you. This is about making sure you never forget who got you there. Commit to walking in God's ways. The people had to come together and publicly commit to following God's commands. No half-stepping, no picking and choosing. This was an all-in kind of thing. Curses for disobedience. The Levites stood up and listed out the things that would bring a curse on someone. Making idols. God is the only one you should worship. Disrespecting your parents. Honor the people who raised you. Moving boundary markers. Don't steal land or cheat people. Leading the blind astray. Don't take advantage of the vulnerable. Twisting justice. Don't oppress orphans, widows, or foreigners. Sleeping with the wrong people. God has clear boundaries for relationships. Committing secret sins. Even if nobody else sees, God does. Taking bribes to kill the innocent. Don't let greed make you evil. At the end of each one, the people had to say Amen, meaning they agreed and accepted the consequences if they disobeyed. The message here: obedience brings blessings, but disobedience has consequences. God wanted his people to live with integrity, justice, and respect. Walking in his ways wasn't just about rules. It was about creating a strong, righteous community where everyone thrived. Deuteronomy 28. Blessings for obedience. If you stay locked in with God, listening to his voice and following his commands, blessings will chase you down. You won't have to strive or stress. The favor will come naturally. Here's what that looks like. Success everywhere you go. Whether in the city or the countryside, you'll thrive. Your family, crops, and business will multiply. Everything you touch will grow. Protection from enemies. They might come at you one way, but they'll scatter in 7. Your work will be blessed. Whatever you put your hands to will prosper. You'll be the lender, not the borrower. No more struggling. You'll be in a position to bless others. You'll be the head, not the tail. Leading, not following. Winning, not losing. But all this depends on obedience. As long as you stay in alignment with God's ways, the blessings won't stop. Curses for disobedience. If you turn away from God and ignore his commands, it's a different story. Instead of blessings, life will get real tough. Struggles everywhere, whether in the city or the countryside, things won't go right. Nothing you plant will grow. Your efforts won't produce results. Sickness, drought, and defeat. Things will fall apart, physically and financially. Your enemies will overpower you. Instead of being victorious, you'll be on the run. Confusion and frustration. Nothing will make sense and you'll feel lost. Other nations will rule over you. If you turn from God, he'll let you experience what life is like without his protection. You'll become the borrower, not the lender, struggling to make ends meet. Fear and hopelessness will take over. You'll wish for morning at night and night in the morning because you'll have no peace. A call to choose wisely. God lays it all out. Follow him and be blessed, or turn away and struggle. The choice is clear. This isn't about punishment for no reason. It's about the consequences of stepping outside of his protection. He wants his people to thrive, but that only happens when they stay connected to him. Bottom line, obedience brings favor, and disobedience brings hardship. God's way isn't about control. It's about positioning you for the life he designed you to live. Stay in alignment and watch the blessings flow. Deuteronomy 29. Remember what God has done. Moses gathered everyone, leaders, workers, men, women, even kids, to remind them of the journey. He said, y'all saw how God handled Egypt, the miracles, the victories, and how he kept you through the wilderness. Your clothes didn't wear out, your shoes didn't fall apart, and he provided everything you needed. Basically, God has been holding you down this whole time. Don't forget that. Renewing the covenant. Moses made it clear. This isn't just a deal between God and your ancestors. It's for you, your kids, and even the ones who aren't born yet. God is establishing a real connection with his people, setting them apart to be blessed, but they have to choose to follow him. The danger of turning away. Moses warned them, if anyone thinks they can just do their own thing and still be blessed, they're lying to themselves. Turning away from God and chasing after other things will only lead to destruction. If that happens, people will look at Israel and ask, what went wrong? Why did all this disaster happen? The answer will be clear, because they abandoned God. Some things only God knows. Moses ended with this truth. There are things God keeps to himself, but what he has revealed is for us to follow. Basically, don't stress over what you don't understand. Just be faithful with what God already told you. The message. Stay focused, stay faithful, and remember where your blessings come from. God's been providing, protecting, and guiding you. Don't get comfortable and forget Him. The choices you make will shape your future. So stay locked in. Deuteronomy 30. God will restore you if you return. Moses tells the people, look, if you mess up and end up scattered because you turned away from God, it's not over. The moment you come back to Him with your whole heart, He'll restore everything you lost. He'll bring you back home, bless you, and make you more prosperous than before. God's mercy is bigger than your mistakes. A heart change is coming. God isn't just after obedience. He wants a real relationship. He promises that one day He'll change their hearts so they can truly love Him and live the way He designed them to. This isn't about just following rules. It's about transformation from the inside out. Obedience leads to overflow. If you stick with God, blessings will flow. Success in everything you do, work, family, and land will all thrive. God will delight in blessing you, just like He did with your ancestors. You'll have favor wherever you go, because you're walking in alignment with Him. This choice is simple. Moses lays it all out. Life or death, blessings or curses. It's your call. He says, this command isn't hard to understand or out of reach. You don't have to climb up to heaven or go across the sea to find it. It's right here, right now. You already know what to do. Choose wisely. Choose life. Moses gives them the answer to the test. Choose life. That means loving God, obeying Him, and staying close to Him. That's the key to living long, thriving, and securing blessings for future generations. The message. No matter how far you've strayed, God is always ready to restore you. He wants to bless you, but the choice is yours. Life or death, blessings or struggles, what you choose today shapes your future. So choose life. Choose God. Deuteronomy 31. Moses passes the torch to Joshua. Moses is now 120 years old, and he knows his time is up. He won't be leading Israel into the promised land, but he reassures the people. God Himself will go before you. He'll clear the way just like He did before. Then he calls up Joshua in front of everybody and tells him, be strong and courageous. You got this, because God is with you. Read the law and keep it alive. Moses commands that every 7 years, during the Festival of Shelters, all of Israel, men, women, kids, and even foreigners, must come together to hear God's law. This was to make sure future generations knew the truth and didn't drift away. Faith has to be passed down. It's not automatic. God warns about future rebellion. God tells Moses straight up, these people are going to turn away from me after you're gone. He knows they'll chase after other gods and break the covenant, which will bring serious consequences. So, He commands Moses to write down a song, a prophetic warning that will remind them of their choices when things go wrong. Moses writes a song and hands over the law. Moses finishes writing everything God commanded and gives it to the priests to keep beside the Ark of the Covenant. He tells them, I know y'all's hearts. After I'm gone, rebellion is coming. But this law and this song will stand as witnesses against you. The message. God is faithful, even when we're not. Moses knew the people would mess up, but he still encouraged them. Be strong, trust God, and stay committed. God already had a plan for their failures, but he still wanted them to choose faithfulness. The same goes for us today. God goes before us, but we have to decide to walk with him. Deuteronomy 32. Moses' final song, a warning and a reminder. Before Moses steps off the scene, he drops a song, not just lyrics, but a message straight from God. This song is meant to remind Israel of who God is, what he's done, and what will happen if they turn away from him. God's faithfulness and power. Moses starts by lifting up God's greatness. God is the rock, solid, unchanging, and always just. Everything he does is right. No corruption, no failure, just pure righteousness. He chose Israel and carried them, like an eagle teaching its young to fly. He protected and provided for them. Israel's future rebellion. But then Moses calls out what's coming. Israel will get comfortable, forget God, and chase idols. They'll turn to other gods that don't care about them. God will step back and let them face the consequences of their choices. The consequences of turning away. Disaster, famine, and war will come. Their enemies will overpower them. They'll realize too late that those false gods can't save them. God's mercy and justice. Even though Israel will mess up, God won't let them be completely destroyed. He'll show the world that he alone is God. No one else can rescue or judge like him. In the end, he will avenge his people, show mercy, and restore them. Moses' last words. After teaching the song, Moses tells the people, "Take these words seriously. This isn't just advice. This is your life. If you obey, you'll thrive. If you ignore it, you'll struggle." Then God reminds Moses that his journey is ending. He'll see the promised land from a distance but won't enter because of his past mistake. The message. God is faithful, even when we're not. He blesses, protects, and provides, but he won't force us to stay loyal. If we turn away, we face the consequences, but his mercy always leaves a way back. Choose obedience and life will go well. Deuteronomy 33. Moses blesses the tribes. Before Moses leaves, he gives a final blessing over Israel. He reminds them that God is their king, their protector, and their source of strength. Then, he speaks specific blessings over each tribe. Reuben, may they survive and thrive, even if their numbers are small. Judah, strength in battle and God's help when they call. Levi, wisdom to teach God's law and power to serve as priests. Benjamin, security and peace, resting in God's protection. Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh, overflowing blessings, fruitfulness, strength, and favor. Zebulun and Issachar, prosperity in their work, enjoying the riches of the land and sea. Gad, power and leadership, taking the best land and protecting justice. Dan, fierce like a lion, striking fear into enemies. Naphtali, full of God's favor, satisfied with blessings and peace. Asher, strength, security, and abundance, never lacking what's needed. God is Israel's protector. Moses closes by reminding them, there is no one like God. He rides across the heavens to help you. He is your refuge, your protector, and your source of strength. Your enemies will fall before you, and you will walk in victory. The message. God's people are blessed, covered, and protected. Each tribe had its own role, but they all had the same promise. As long as they stayed with God, they would prosper. Moses leaves them with confidence. God has got you, so walk in the blessing. Deuteronomy 34. Moses sees the promised land. God takes Moses up to the top of Mount Nebo and shows him everything, the land he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses sees it all, but he won't enter. His journey ends here because of his past mistake, but God still lets him witness the fulfillment of the promise. Moses passes away. Moses dies right there in Moab, and God himself buries him in an unknown place. Even at 120 years old, his strength and vision were still sharp. He wasn't weak or worn out. The people mourned him for 30 days, recognizing that he was truly a leader like no other. Joshua takes over. Joshua, filled with God's Spirit, steps into leadership. The people listen to him just as Moses commanded, ready to move forward into the promised land. Moses' legacy. The chapter ends by saying no prophet like Moses had ever risen in Israel. He spoke with God face to face, performed mighty miracles, and led with unmatched power. His impact would never be forgotten. The message. Moses' journey shows us obedience matters, leadership is service, and God always keeps his promises. Even when we don't get to see everything we hope for, God's plan still moves forward. His work doesn't end with one person. It continues through those who remain faithful.